Hi. Sorry this video is a week late. Too many things happened last week that I just didn't get around to this. But I'm here now. Deal with it. Anyway, here to talk about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. The ghost with the most is back. But before I get into that, I'm here to talk about James Earl Jones, who passed away last week at the age of 93. The actor had quite a presence on camera. He lit up the screen whenever he came into the picture, and had a perfect speaking voice. When he spoke, everybody listened. That's also best known as the voices for Musapa. Did I say his name right? In the movie The Lion King. He not only did the animated version, he did the live action version of the Lion King. See, you can't replace James Earl Jones. He's just so iconic with that voice, and especially known as Darth Vader. Now, David Prowse may have been the body for Darth Vader, but James Earl Jones, with that voice, he was Darth Vader. He will be missed and always remembered. R.I.P. James Earl Jones. Now, let's talk about Beetlejuice. Before I talk about the sequel, I'm going to talk about the original film that came out in 1988. Of course, I was a kid then. I see trailers for it. I don't even know what it's really about. I thought it was about Beetlejuice because his name was in the title. Then when you see the movie, you realize it's not about him at all. It's about a couple played by Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, who on their way to the grocery get into a car wreck and drown, and now they're ghosts and they can't leave their house, and they don't know what to do. They're lost about what's going on. They find a book for the handbook for the recently deceased. And they don't know what to do when a new family moves in. Played by Catherine O'Hara, who plays Delia. And Jeffrey Jones as Charles, her husband Charles. And then there was a sort of well-known actress named Winona Ryder then. She was, 15 or 16 then? And I remembered her from Lucas, but she wasn't too well established yet, but she was getting there. As they try to get rid of Charles and Dahlia, played by Jeffrey Jones and Catherine O'Hara, they discover that that Lydia, their teenage girl, can see them. How come can she see them? Well, I'll get to that in a moment. And I know what you're probably saying. Where does Beetlejuice come in all this? Well, he is mentioned once or twice until he doesn't quite make his appearance later in the film. And I gotta say, when he does make his appearance, Michael Keaton really steals the scene whenever he's in it. And that's the good part about Tim Burton as director here. He just kind of lets Michael Keaton do his thing. I mean, when Michael Keaton improvises, he improvises in a good way, and it really helps the picture. And he really goes for it real well. I mean, I knew who Michael Keaton was. He was one of those actors I kind of enjoyed watching in almost anything he's in. But here, not that I didn't enjoy him here, but I didn't see Michael Keaton when he has that makeup on and he speaks in that gravelly voice. Michael Keaton just disappeared and he became Beetlejuice. He really disappeared into the character. Although I do like the scene where Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis are getting to know Beetlejuice, and they asked him what his qualifications. I like the scene where this proves what a talent Michael Keaton is. He knows how to flip a switch perfectly when he speaks in his normal voice, And then he just goes off the rails. I mean, he knows how to flip a switch beautifully. Yeah, Beetlejuice was a hit. I mean, and all that, and I heard it was Michael Keaton's most favorite role he's ever played. And after Pee Wee's Big Adventure, production knew Tim Burton was the perfect guy to direct this. And they just kind of stuck with Beetlejuice because during the filming they were just kind of running out of titles for the movie. So they just kind of stuck with Beetlejuice, even though he's not really the star of the movie. He is the most interesting thing in this movie. Not dissing Catherine O'Hara. I love her self-centered neuroticness. She plays that so with such perfection. You want to hate her character, but she's so funny you just can't help but not hate her at times. And Jeffrey Jones is good too as Charles. He's a professional bird watcher, and he wants to relax. I just like the scene where it just shows he's concerned for his daughter Lydia. It just shows you he's not a bad guy, and the guy that plays Otho, I forgot his name, but he's just so good at being her Dahlia's eccentric interior decorator. He's just so self-serving kind of guy. Forgot the actor's name, but he's pretty good too. And let's not forget Winona Ryder as Lydia, playing as this teenage girl who just she's antisocial. She's apparently, you look at her, she's very pale. She doesn't see the sun that much. She likes horror and ghost stuff, and that's the kind of girl she is. She's quiet, but then when she meets the Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin's characters, who are ghosts, it kind of brings her out of it in a way. Oh, let's not forget the thing with Beetlejuice at the end, the wedding scene. I wonder if I could tell the actors were just. I wonder if there were scenes that were just having trouble keeping a straight face, because Michael Keaton was just going off the rails here. The movie was quite a hit, and for years there were talks of a sequel, but nothing ever came of it. But Beetlejuice's popularity didn't waver down, because he was brought back in animated form. A show that ran for 4 seasons. Now, I was excited when I first saw the animated preview trailer. I was pretty sure it was going to follow the movie. Well, it really doesn't. Okay, the characters are basically the same, but few changes. There's no Alec Baldwin or Gina Davis, and Lydia is much younger than she was in the movie version. And she and Beetlejuice are friends. In the movie she found him disgusting and unbearable, but now they're close friends. And Lydia's voiced by Alison Cord, and Beetlejuice is voiced by Stephen Ometi. I think I said his name right. They don't sound totally like their movie counterparts. They sound a little close. Similar, but not too similar. And they completely make the parts their own. Alison Cord's voice may sound familiar. She was the voice of Jubilee on X-Men. Well, in the early 90s version. And it was pretty decent. I understand the changes they had to make for a kid's purpose. For a kid's show, they had to make some changes. They couldn't stick with the total movie version. Now, it could be a little dark, but not. It doesn't go too far with itself. Now, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. I remember I think it was 2014 or 2015, they asked Michael Keaton in an interview, any news on Beetlejuice 2? Michael Keaton does this. And picks his head up and says, I didn't hear anything from Tim, but if he's up for it, I'm game. See, it proves I think he would only do it if Tim Burton was involved. Now, 2024, Beetlejuice is finally here. And 3 main characters from the first film do make their appearance. Catherine O'Hara as Delia, Winona Ryder as Lydia, and Michael Keaton, of course, as Beetlejuice. Not Jeffrey Jones. He's having too many legal problems, so they didn't want to bring him back. Enough said on that. Now, it does finally get explained why Lydia can see the ghosts. Simple, she has a sixth sense. She can see ghosts from the afterlife. That's how she's able to. That's why it didn't get. I don't know if it got explained in the first film, but it gets explained here. Now she's a celebrity ghost whisperer, and she's a hit. She has a boyfriend, Justin Theroux. He's joyfully over the top. The audience kind of see he's up to no good. I mean, she doesn't see it, but the audience kind of sees something's not quite right with this guy. And Michael Keaton is back as Beetlejuice. He gets a lot more to do here than he did in the first film. I think Michael Keaton liked it better than the last film, but we see more of that afterlife. Beetlejuice runs a business in the afterlife and all that stuff. And then the vengeful ex-wife, played by Monica Bellucci, comes back to claim his soul. There's a history. Yeah, you're right. This movie dies little history back in Beetlejuice's life before he became dead. Won't go too far into it. Monica Bellucci, she was good as a vengeful sucking, stealing ghost. Also Beetlejuice's ex-wife. When you see her in this film, my first thought was, wow, she would make a perfect Morticia Addams if they ever made another Addams Family movie. Monica Bellucci, she looks good at looking creepy. Speaking of Addams, Jenna Ortega as Astrid, Lydia's daughter, who's pretty much in the same age bracket as Lydia was in the first film, although she'd rather live among the living, unlike Lydia was in the first film. And she gets annoyed with her mother because her mother feels like her mother ignores her and spends more time being with ghosts than being with her. And they had and Lydia was married, but from what I hear, they got divorced, and he died in a fishing thing. Fishing died when he was drowned, I guess. I think that's what it was. Anyway. And I like the scene where Astrid asks Lydia, if you could see ghosts, how come you can't see Dad? And Lydia replies, this gift didn't come with instructions. So it didn't. Anyway, excuse me for a minute. Anyway, and that was a pretty cool scene. Oh, and not to mention Willem Dafoe's in this scene, in this movie too. He plays a once great actor who played a lot of detectives, and now he is a ghostly detective. And I gotta say this, that's like a spin-off just kind of waiting to happen. Just feels like it. Willem Dafoe just looks like he's having too much fun. Well, this movie looks like they're all having too much fun in this movie. I gotta say, Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice. For a guy in his 70s, he really has that. He really still has that insane amount of energy he had in the first film. Oh, and we all remember the Deo scene. The Deo scene is sung in this movie. I won't say when it's sung. But there is another musical number in this film. I won't say what the song is. You'll know it when you see it. What makes the Deo scene from the first film so memorable that it comes completely out of nowhere. It's like whoa. Even when I was a kid, you just don't see that coming a mile away, and it becomes one of the most memorable scenes in the movie. And I think this is kind of Tim Burton's return to form. This is, and so if you love the first Beetlejuice movie, I hope you give Beetlejuice a try. All right, as Beetlejuice would say, it's showtime.